I don't know what I was expecting here, but it definitely wasn't this. Hi everybody, Anthony here from Awesome Anthony Productions, and today I'm going to give you my review of the latest film from Justin Tipping, Him. But before we get started, please leave a like, and at the end of the video, if you think I've earned it, please subscribe and hit that bell icon to be notified whenever I post. Now on to the review. Him stars Tyreek Withers as Cameron Cade, a college football star ready for the draft. Until someone dressed as a mascot attacks him and leaves him with a brain injury. Not ready to back down, Cade spends the week with his idol, 8-time Super Bowl winner Isaiah White, played by Marlon Wayans. But it's not long until things start to get weird and sinister, and Cade realizes that there's something else at play here, something much darker. Now, even with how on the nose some of his race-related themes can be, I love Jordan Peele's work. From his hilarious comedy with Keegan-Michael Key to his horror movies Get Out, Us, and Nope. So even knowing that he didn't direct this, I was still excited seeing that it was coming from Monkey Paw, his production company. I figured that his fingerprints on it meant that another horror masterpiece was coming our way. But outside of a burning hatred for the white man, it's about as far away from a Jordan Peele project as possible. Because it f***ing sucks. Let's start with the story. Him wants to do a lot with its hour-and-a-half runtime. Tries to juggle themes of sacrifice, what are you willing to sacrifice? Celebrity worship, family, the physical toll that football takes on its players, race, and even some sci-fi body horror nonsense involving blood transfusions. That's like 6 different movies worth of material, and the script does none of them justice. It's like the film's in constant competition with itself to see how many big ideas it can throw in there, but then immediately forgets about them the second that they're introduced. It's like someone standing in a room of intellectuals and occasionally popping into a conversation to go, "I know, right?" before walking off. It doesn't add anything to the conversation. I just brought up the concept of style over substance in my Big Bold Beautiful Journey review, and though I'm not a big fan of that phrase, Him is the textbook definition of style over substance. It thinks that if it simply mentions a theme like sacrifice, with Isaiah telling Cade, "I had to sacrifice everything to be the best," is enough to make people nod and say, "Oh, that's deep." But bringing up a theme doesn't really do shit if you don't follow through on it. The only time we see Cade's family is at the very beginning, giving him some cliche dialogue or cheering him on like NPCs.
You could be the next great quarterback. I can already see it now. Him running down the tunnel with the crowd chanting his name.
And then they disappear for the rest of the film. So when Cade starts talking about how he's doing this all for them, it's like, what family? We've barely seen them. All they've gotten really is lip service. The theme of celebrity worship? Same deal. It could have taken us into fascinating psychological horror territory, with Cade battling Isaiah's rabid fan base, dealing with paranoia, or even him fighting his own inflated ego. Instead, that theme boils down to one scene where a cliched, psychotic fan attacks with a jump scare and some blood, and then poof! It's gone. Even the concussion and CTE storyline, which seems like it should have been a central conflict in the movie, gets dropped almost instantly. They tease it in a scene or two and really only bring it back into the story when they want to have some trippy visuals. What could or should have been a disturbing psychological story, with a player's mind slowly unraveling hit by hit, is just surface level window dressing. And then there's the weird sci-fi and body horror angle with Isaiah getting blood transfusions to be the best player he can be. They do nothing with it. There's no commentary, no deeper point to it, just a half-baked subplot that they didn't know what to do with. And of course, there's the race angle. Now, I like my YouTube channel and my TikTok, so I'm not going to go too far into this, but this is easily the weakest and most shallow theme of them all. Where Peele actually brings nuance and conversation to the table when he talks about race, Him just boils it down to white people bad, black people need to be perfect to even be recognized, which doesn't really make any sense when over half the NFL is black. The movie even drags Tom Brady into this. Look, I'm not a diehard Brady fan by any means, I'm not even that big of a fan of football, but come on, the guy didn't just waltz onto the field and collect his rings. But here, Isaiah is basically a bizarro Brady who wins 8 Super Bowls instead of 7, take that Tom, with having a manager that's old as dirt and a special doctor that he keeps on staff to follow him around. And while I won't spoil how or why it's done, the movie keeps hammering home the idea that Isaiah didn't really earn his place at the top as a middle finger to Brady. It's bizarre, it's petty, it doesn't really fit with the rest of the story, and it's surface level at best. And that's the biggest issue here. This movie is all surface level, with pretty much zero substance. Just empty gestures towards 6 or 7 themes, none of which connect with the film in any meaningful way. The editing and pacing don't help either. They're honestly a nightmare, bouncing from hyperactive, rapid cut montages to long, drawn out scenes of Cade and Isaiah just staring at each other. And the horror? Practically non-existent. Unless this is your first horror movie ever, you'll see everything coming and nothing's gonna get you. The few attempts at scares are just loud jumps or trippy visuals in those montage scenes. Most of the blood and gore doesn't even show up until the last 10 minutes, and at that point, you're already checked out. The soundtrack doesn't do the film any favors either, flipping between big orchestral swells and crappy mumble rap that you would find on a teenager's Spotify playlist. Every cue feels like it came from a different movie. Now, I know I've been ripping this to shreds, but I really have to give credit where credit is due. Marlon Wayans is fantastic here. I mean, genuinely fantastic. He takes this shallow, cliche-ridden material and does his best to elevate it as much as possible. His performance has intensity, gravitas, and just enough manic energy to make you think for just a second, hey, maybe this script isn't total trash. Honestly, outside of Requiem for a Dream, this might be the best performance of his career. If the whole movie had been at the level of Wayans, this movie might have been really something special. But then there's Tyreek Withers. Look, if you've been watching my reviews, you know that I hated I Know What You Did Last Summer, but I thought that he was okay in that movie. Here, well, he's there. For most of the runtime, he's kind of just a blank slate, stuck between wide-eyed confusion and the occasional unconvincing outburst. He doesn't come alive until late in the last act, and at that point, it's too late. Julia Fox? Yeah, no. She's just as unbearable here as everywhere else. Over the top, distracting, and the costuming and makeup just make it even harder to take her performance seriously. On a technical level, though, this film looks great. The cinematography is slick and polished, the production design of Isaiah's compound is impressive, and some of the more trippy visuals are striking in the moment. But it's like spray painting gold plating on a garbage can. It's shiny, sure, but you're still looking at trash. Look, I know it sounds like I hated this movie. And I did. What was once one of my most anticipated films of the year has quickly fallen to be one of my least favorites. Outside of Marlon Wayans' performance and some strong production values, him is a shallow, messy, poorly written waste of time. The editing is sloppy, the pacing is brutal, the scares are non-existent, the supporting performances are either bland or insufferable, and the writing tries to seem elevated while offering nothing more than surface-level takes. Go watch a Jordan Peele movie instead. And that's my review of him. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this review, you know exactly what to do. Please leave a like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon to be notified whenever I post. While you're at it, you can scroll down in the description below, find the links to my socials, leave a comment, let me know if you saw him and what you thought, and if you want more of my content, you can click or tap on these cards right here. I'll take you to my review of A Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey, or just over to my channel where you can check out the rest of my reviews. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I will see you next week for my reviews of One Battle After Another and The Strangers Chapter 2.